Geometry is another area where we can use a system of equations to help us find an answer. In our first example, we have two acute angles, acute meaning that angles are less than 90. And in this case, they are in a right triangle and they add up to 90 degrees. So I'm going to let x represent one angle and y represent the next angle. And the sum of the two angles is 90. So x plus y equals 90 would be one equation. The other equation can be found by this sentence that relates the two angles. So it says the measure of one angle is 6 less than 2 times the measure of the other. So I'm going to let y, I just decided that it would be y, is going to be 6 less than 2 times the measure of the other. So 2x would be twice the measure of the other. 6 less than that would be taking away 6. Here's the two equations I will use. This is set up very, very well to use with substitution. So I'm going to say x plus 2x minus 6 equals 90. That gives me 3x minus 6 equals 90. By adding 6, I get 3x equals 96. And divide by 3 to get x equals 32. I know that the sum of the two angles is 90 degrees, and we call that complementary in geometry. Complementary meaning they add up to 90, or supplementary meaning they add up to 180. In this case, I have 32 plus y equals 90 because they are complementary. By subtracting 32, I get that 58 is the other value. And then I would write a sentence that the measure of the two angles are 32 degrees and 58 degrees. This next example deals with angles that are supplementary, meaning they add to 180. Add to 180 degrees. Again, my first one is a very simple equation that the measure of the two angles adds up to 180 because they're supplementary. In this case, the measure of one angle is 16 degrees less than 3 times the measure of the other. So I'm going to say that y equals 3 times the measure of the other, but 16 degrees less than that. Again, I'm going to choose to solve in this case by substitution. So x plus 3x minus 16 equals 180. I add the 3x and the x to get 4x. To add 16 to each side, I get 4x equals 196. And then finally find that x is 49. Again, I need to find both angles, so 49 plus y equals 180. I'm going to subtract 49 to get y equals 131. So again, I would write a sentence that said the measure of the two angles are 131 degrees and 49 degrees. Try this last one on your own, then press play to see how you did. If the two angles are complementary, that means they add to 90 degrees. So I'm going to say my first equation is x plus y equals 90. One angle measures 10 less than 4 times the other. So I'm going to say that angle y is 4 times the other minus 10, 10 less than 4 times the other. And then I will solve by substitution. So x plus 4x minus 10 equals 90. So 5x minus 10 equals 90. I get 5x equals 100 by adding that 10 to each side, and then that x equals 20. Again, I'm going to plug it back into either one of my original equations. I'm going to choose the first one. 20 plus y equals 90. By subtracting by 20, I get y equals 70. My sentence would say that the two angles are 20 degrees and 70 degrees.